Howdy, Ags. Welcome to Aggie Growth Hacks, the podcast sponsored by the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M, and we are dedicated to helping entrepreneurs improve their business, connect with other Aggie entrepreneurs, and support one another. I'm your host, Greg Martin, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2001.
And I'm your co-host, Chris Hunter, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 1998.
Whoop. We got a little story for you, Ags. Alex Spalding, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2014, is the CEO of danielhouse.club, a radically innovative company that seeks to transform the design business by enabling designers to experience greater creative freedom and more financial success. Not only is this company innovative, but has proven to be wildly successful. Over the last 3 years, danielhouse.club has achieved almost 275% compound growth. That makes danielhouse.club the fastest growing Aggie-owned and operated company on this year's Aggie 100 list.
So pass it back and listen up to Alex as he shares some really good bull.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining us. First off, congratulations on an Aggie 100 win. That is such an amazing accomplishment. Thank you for taking the time to join us today and share a little bit about you and your story.
Thanks for having me. It's super fun to be in the Aggie 100 and be back in College Station. And definitely doing this interview. Looking forward to
it. And for y'all listening, so Alex, thank you. You literally traveled halfway around the globe to be here for us today, and the party, but for us
no,
today.
It's just for this, really. Yeah. No, I'm glad I did. I woke up yesterday morning in Oxford, England, and I was originally going to stay there through Saturday, and I was like, no, I'll come here. That'll be fun, and I think it really will be. Although I might be very sleepy.
No, it's going to be awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about your entrepreneur. Were you in Oxford for business, or was it for fun, for both?
For fun. I wish I was there for business. Actually, my mom generously gave us, our whole family, a biking trip in Spain. So then we did that, a week of intense, relentless uphills. And then I lived in Oxford for a while, actually right after my time at A&M. So I stopped over to see some friends. But I would love to go back for business. That sounds more fun.
That's awesome. Well, tell us about your business.
Should I start with my business now or all the way back?
All the way back.
Okay.
Come on.
Give us your journey.
Okay. Well, I like to say, because it's true and it's cool, I'm a fourth generation entrepreneur. So I didn't really ever feel like I had very much choice in the matter, which is good. It's a good kind of pressure. But grew up in an entrepreneurial household. Then my dad did die when I was younger, which was sad, but I shouldn't say but made it even more invigorating to pursue a similar career. Mm-hmm. I really, for a long time, had no idea what I wanted to do, except I wanted to start a business. That was the transition from my, maybe age 5 before I wanted to be a bad guy. That's what I told my parents. So they were pleased with the transition.
Career criminal to entrepreneur. Yeah. They're both kind of psychotic.
Crazy people. Glutton for punishment, certainly. I grew up in Wisconsin, which was a rarity for Aggies. I wanted to find someplace that had a big school with a lot of spirit. A&M obviously foots that bill very well. I wanted a good business school, some sort of entrepreneurship, which the McFerrin Center here has. And so decided to come here. Thought I would figure out partway through college, really had a goal of dropping out of college. It'll be even more fun.
I'm going to get the hours for the ring and then you can keep the degree.
Yeah, that would be fine. I will say I went through a little...
For our sponsor, that's not the way we do things.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't advise that anymore. I'm happy I finished, but I will say I went through a little early life crisis when I did graduate because I felt like I was losing to my dad because he dropped out his first quarter of college to start his business. Yeah. So there is a little bit of that competitiveness in me, but then I realized I actually like academia too. So that's jumping ahead a little bit. After A&M, still didn't know what I wanted to do, so I did a year at Oxford studying theology, totally different arena. I'm kind of interested in everything, so happy to just keep studying, although I really wanted to start something. So as I was finishing there, my brother and I got talking, and he had a degree in architecture, and was moving to Oregon to redo my mom's house. She had just bought this like 1915 house on the hills, needed a gut renovation. And so he was going to go do that. And I was like, well, we talked about, why don't we just start something together there? Wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but I'm like, this is the opportunity I have right now. Let's try it out. Started that as like a design build firm. We did construction management for intensive interior renovations. I hated doing that. I hated it so much. We did it for almost 5 years. And like it just got worse as we grew. We were able to grow relative to the market fairly quickly, but there are so many headwinds, so many issues for scalability, so many just problems. And I felt like every dollar took like 20 more hours, and it was just brutal.
I mean, because it literally is a one-off custom every time.
And you can systematize parts of it, but not every part of it. And yeah, each time you're facing new problems, you're facing new clients, you're facing, new potential losses. It's very easy to lose money in that. And I wanted out of that. My brother and I were about to kill each other. Working with family as a whole, another issue, which I have a good resolution for now. But we kind of got to the end where it was like, either we're going to murder each other or we're just going to go out in a blaze of glory. And we were looking around at our finances and realized most of our profits came from reselling furniture, even though that actually was really hard to do. So it might be easy. Like if you think about going to Restoration Hardware and buying something, that's pretty easy as a consumer. If you think about it as a designer or construction worker, they have to go make a wholesale account, then usually manage the logistics on their own to the end client, and then manage the reselling to the customer. A lot of those accounts for small designers or small firms will only give 20%. So all of that work, and they're making $200 or something. So it would be terrible. After like 5 years, we managed to get, I think, like 15 accounts. So we were making money on a lot, but 15 is still not enough to finish a house. I'm giving a lot of information because it's a weird industry and a lot of people don't know anything about how it works.
I have no idea.
And so we were like, that's great. And we had one of our last projects was actually like $9 million renovation or new build, on Lake Washington in Mercer Island. Crazy, huge project. And it was right as we were starting to make money. And it was also the most frustrating point because one of the time they ordered $50,000 just in like decorative lights. So just like lamps and sconces and stuff. None of the actual built-ins. And still on that, we could only make like $2,000. And I was so angry at that. And I'm still a little bitter. But we were making money on the other things we were selling, like the couches and the chairs and whatever. And I was like, if we had resources when we started this project, we could have made probably $1 million in profit or something. Yet we were kind of skating by with, I think we ended with like $250,000 on that project, which isn't bad, actually, all things considered, but it's really transformative. So I wanted to build a system for us initially that would allow us insight to all of the products we currently had access to and allow us to manage the shipping of those really efficiently so we could focus on reselling profitable things. It was not very long until I'm like, why don't we just do that for other designers? Because I also, as I said before, hate the projects. So I'm like, if we could stop doing projects and just sell to other designers, that'd be awesome. And we talked to people in the industry for like 20 plus years. They were all facing the same issues. I'm like, there's definitely a business here. And we kind of just switched slowly through our, stopped taking new projects, built a website, hired some new people. I don't want to, take away all the future questions, so I won't share all of that. But that was the launching point, and that new version of the business that we're working on now, and it's growing really fast and it's really fun, started the Monday before COVID lockdown, which was also a brand new challenge.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah. One challenge to another. But I love, as I said, glutton for punishment. So I love to figure some things out. I will stop talking now so you can ask some follow-up questions and I can get a little bit of water.
All right. I still need an explanation of this business here, right? So what exactly do you guys do?
For clarity, and that's a very good question. We're Daniel House Club. We help designers source furniture and fixtures profitably for their businesses. So they can join our website. We have 3 membership tiers. They get immediate access to about 200 plus vendors, currently about 200,000 products, and some tools that they can then go work with their client to sort through things and ultimately resell directly to their client on our platform. We also offer a lot of what we call concierge services to manage all of their logistics or to help them find something that if they just want to say, I want something that looks like this, we'll go do that. And the idea is to be their partner in the business of design, because most of our customers are what I think is kind of a silly term, but that's what they go by, solopreneurs. So they're individuals running a business who are also going crazy like I used to when we were running our small firm. So we are just taking off that pressure so they can focus on the things they're good at, and we can help them actually make money.
So you're connecting designers that are helping people with houses or offices that need to be furnished, renovated, and refurnished or built. And then you're also connecting them with are these like custom pieces, custom furniture that's being made?
We do that. There is a whole huge, being redundant, but massive behind the scenes industry on furniture where most of that exists. And there are like 1,000 different furniture manufacturers in the US alone. And that's before you get European or Asian ones involved. And those are pre-made. But we do have a lot of custom stuff as well. But one of the biggest things we focus on is just getting all of those pre-made options up on the website because those are the easiest to sell.
But the challenge is that's massive.
It's
I mean, you're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of SKUs.
Oh, easily. Yeah. I mean, Wayfair, which is, not a competitor because they really focus on the consumer. They have a trade program, but their slogan is a zillion things for the home. I think zillion is the correct number in this case. There's endless amounts of furniture, which is, there's too much. Don't tell the people in the industry, but there's really too much.
But then your expertise to be able to say, to one, offer it, but then two, to have those tools to cut down the clutter and to hone into, okay, this is what the designer's looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. And so unlike, as I mentioned, Wayfair has a trade program. Unlike those kind of side businesses that a lot of the e-commerce resellers offer, this is really focused in exactly on what the designer needs. So we don't market to consumers. We only provide things that designers want, and are really heavy on the reselling tools to make it easy to do the business transaction, not just to find something pretty, which is important too, and we have some of that, but it's about making their business function. And so, yeah, everything is built around that.
So what are some of those things then that helps them out?
They sound kind of simple. They've been really hard and expensive to build. We call them boards. And so as they're sorting through products, they can we have a fairly advanced search feature. They can type in, colors and brands and vendors and find an initial list of maybe 500 items. And then they can add that to boards, add that to a project, which they've set up in our system. And then they add it to boards by room. And then they can share those with their client to see, do you like this? Do you not? Once they like it, they can send a cart directly to their client. The client can check out. We then pay the designer. The designer never needs to take the whole check, although they can do that too if they want. We have another channel. But that reduces, for the designer, surprisingly, that reduces the insurance they need to have. So it actually makes their business cheaper to run. And a weird psychological benefit that we found after we started this is if they send carts, they hardly ever get negotiated with. But if they send invoices, customers love to negotiate an invoice. So we kind of make it easier for them to complete the transaction without any fuss. And I'm not going to say that's a universally true experience, but a lot of our designers have said that. So that streamlined process that more matches what a consumer is used to if they're shopping on an Amazon or a Wayfair or whatever, that a designer really can't offer on a one-off basis, we can offer and make that whole process a lot smoother and a lot closer, a lot more frictionless, that will help expedite the process and end up with the designer completing a sale versus losing a client.
Love that.
So, and I'm assuming that part of the reason that you started this company is that you were so frustrated on making $2,000 on a $50,000 order that you're allowing the designer to get a bigger piece of the pie. So they're coming to you, versus trying to go directly to the lines themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's been like a big, when we went out to talk to VCs about this, a lot of them asked that question. It's like, why are you giving up so much margin? And obviously there's that story I said at the beginning. It was like, we felt this pain, but also we don't have very many direct competitors, but our competitor is the manufacturer itself. And so where a designer theoretically, as I said before, could go do 1 to maybe 15 accounts on their own and get that 40 to 50% discount. They can't do that at scale, but they will on those few they can. So our top tier, which is it is $89 a month, but it comes with a 50% discount on average, about a 50% discount. Which is really substantial. So it ends up being a kind of no-brainer for designers to come to us, and we still make money on that. So the primary way we make money, which we're very transparent with our designers, we try to encourage transparency in the industry, is the spread in the products. We buy it for, on average, I think a 57.5% discount, and on average resell it for a 43.5% discount. And that's the primary way we make money, which is exactly the same thing that designers doing. We just allow them. Everybody is winning a lot.
Yeah. Versus the manufacturer just keeping all of it.
Yeah, right. And not getting that customer, because oftentimes the designer will just skip that account if they I can't justify that $15,000 minimum order to open that account, so I'm not going to buy with them at all. So we also have a good value proposition for the manufacturer, even though they're theoretically losing margin. They gain customers.
Yeah, 100% of zero is still zero.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody seemed pretty happy in this business. We've run in some definitely headwinds in some areas, but keeping most of our customers happy it's been easy.
So it sounds like you've got two main target audiences. You've got the manufacturers themselves, and then you've got the designers, right? So how many manufacturers did you say that you guys have right now?
We're currently at about 200.
200. Okay.
That's been our biggest focus.
Yeah.
Over the last maybe even 18 months is pushing. Designers has been fairly easy. We're up to about 6,000. There are actually surprisingly about 100 depends who you trust, but about 140,000 in the country.
So you're just scratching surface.
Yeah. We've
Aggie 100 for days.
We are growing faster this year than last year. So
Yes.
I'm very happy about that.
I'll see you next October.
Looking forward to it. That's been very steady, but we are still really just scratching the surface of the designers. The vendors pose a lot more challenges. And actually, if I back up, when we started this out, I didn't really know it's a phrase, it's called a double-sided marketplace. I don't know if anybody, presumably many people on there are like, oh, you idiot, you should know that. But I learn a lot as I just do. And the double-sided marketplace is the idea that you have two customers. So you're effectively a middleman. You're working to get the person who's going to buy from you, but then you also have to woo and court for a long term the people who are going to sell through you.
Right.
Even though sometimes it seems really obvious, why wouldn't you want to sell your stuff? And you'll see me by my computer oftentimes with my hands in the air saying, why won't you sell me your things? Yeah. A lot of vendors don't want to do that. And with our industry, it's pretty archaic. A lot of furniture vendors are family businesses. They're old. They've been dragged kicking and screaming into the e-commerce world, not 15 years ago or 20 years ago when it was going crazy, but just in COVID. So that was the first kind of widespread adoption in the industry of the internet.
Wow.
And so we're just now getting them on board with the idea of selling online. On top of that, they need to have product data with images and dimensions and all of that stuff that they used to keep on a printed catalog needs to be transformed. They're horrible at it, that's a huge part of what we do. And so we built a whole catalog team that just transforms whatever data they have and puts it on our site. And that's a value proposition we've worked in trying to overcome that roadblock. We were told no so often, but not no because I don't want to, no because I can't. Yeah. So we just did it for them. And they've been really happy with that. Mostly it's a very slow, painful, and expensive for us process, but we do it. And then once we actually build that relationship, vendors seem pretty happy to be online. So it's the headwind there is really reduced now that we've built trust in the industry. But it's still not very scalable because those systems on the vendor side don't exist yet to just hand us data. Hopefully 2 years or so, we will have manually brought on, a quarter of the US industry at least. And then the rest will just have caught up by then. That's my secret hope.
But then how do you work with the manufacturers on, okay, they're not making that anymore. That's obsolete, or, some of these might be limited runs, some of them may not be, but if you're kind of managing the website, hey, this is available to sell. Oh, no, it's not.
Yes.
That's a sad face day.
That is raw story on that. I woke up yesterday to check my email, and one of our vendors had just shut down on Friday, and they didn't tell us. They didn't tell anybody. We actually found out because a magazine editor reached out to us asking for info on the story. I'm like, I had no idea.
Interesting. Tell me more.
I don't know more still. It happens. It's a big challenge. I would, plug for, if you're going to go start a business that you don't know how to run, find people who do. When we first started, we added a team member to our team named Caleb Orge. He's our CFO, COO. He's amazing. He actually came from an e-commerce, high transaction volume business, and set up the systems to make that possible. And before we really ever launched, he built those systems for us. So they're not 100%. If a vendor shuts down and doesn't tell us, we don't really have another avenue. But we have built in a lot of manual checks to have automated emails going out to confirm availability with vendors, to do if they're a high volume vendor, daily to weekly inventory checks manually. We use NetSuite, so we do automate a portion of that as we're able to. But we are so committed to our customer success, because if they're not able to resell to their client, we're going to lose that. We've just taken on that issue, and I think we do fairly well at it now. We use, under 1%, I think, of anything that's ordered is not available because it's been discontinued or something like that. But definitely a good thing to automate.
So how many employees do you have currently?
Yeah. So we have kind of a bifurcated team. We have a US based and an India based. We're actually adding a Philippines based team shortly. All in, we're at 21 right now, which is, I think, just over double where we were a year ago, and probably will be roughly double next year when I talk to you, hopefully. But 9 of those are in the US. So,
and how many? You, as we're talking, this storefront is very creative, very designer driven, everything. But how many of them are software people? Because you're a software company, aren't you?
Yeah. This is another challenge we had with VCs. We're kind of weird. None of our people are software people. So we have outsourced that the whole time. At the beginning, because we couldn't afford it. It's super expensive.
Yeah.
Now, it's still very expensive, so we can't afford to build a team, but we've kind of mitigated that with a couple agencies we work with and one person who's like a consultant to make sure everything's working well. But the further we've gotten into that as a company, the more I would actually say it's a good route to pursue. a lot of software firms and VCs seem to really think this needs to be true. And I understand their point, are so heavy on the engineering side up front that they need to grow really fast to support that. Mm-hmm. And if they don't hit those marks, they're going to fail in 2 to 3 years.
They're going to run out of cash.
Yeah. And an engineering team can eat away at $1 million a year easily. A small engineering team. So we've been really agile with using partner agencies to build things in chunks as we need them, and not to get ahead of our skis on that. We are in the process of bringing some of that in-house, mm-hmm. but we're going to do it in a very planned and purposeful way when we can support those full-time roles.
Well, how about that, Ags? Was that pretty awesome or what? I know that I took a whole page of notes again, just like I have the past couple of episodes, and I've got tons and tons of takeaways, but I know that we're holding off on our takeaways until our next episode with him.
Yeah, it truly was a pleasure to sit and talk with Alex, especially to hear his story and to hear what it took to grow the fastest growing Aggie-owned and operating company. We hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed recording and getting to know him. And we hope that you connect with Alex. If you're not connected with Aggie Growth Hacks or Chris or I, please connect with us on any social media platform. Make sure that you hit subscribe and like and give a big gig-em thumbs up so that we can get this podcast out to more Ags.
We want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M University. Since 1999, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship has served as the hub of entrepreneurship for Texas A&M. If you're an Aggie entrepreneur or even a wantrepreneur, head on over to their website right now to find a program that's right for you. Just go to aggiegrowthhacks.com/McFerrin. Well, Ags, join us next time when we connect with Alex again and learn how he hacked his growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter.
And I'm Greg Martin. Thanks and gig 'em.